Good morning to our Honorable Director, sir, faculty member, and our viewers. I'm Kritan Mathur from MBA Tech CS third year, and I'm here with Hirashi Maheshwari from NMIMS Shirpur for another round of discussions on a Saturday morning. Saturday 10 a.m. at NMIMS Shirpur is a new initiative taken by our director, sir, at our campus. He has already communicated to us the spirit behind this initiative. He says that there exists many sources for gathering knowledge. For example, textbooks, labs, journals, etc. But when it comes to gaining wisdom, there exists only one source, and that is life. Now, when it comes to life, there are some things that you simply have to learn from your own experiences. But there are a lot many things that you can learn from listening to other people's experiences, the path they took, choices they made, and what worked for them, and equally importantly, what did not work for them.
In the first lecture of this series, held on last Saturday, 20th March at 10 a.m., we interviewed Mr. Sameer Kenkare from Amazon and Mr. Ankit Jadwani from Deloitte. That discussion was based on entrepreneurship, startups, life at Amazon, etc. After receiving an overwhelming response last Saturday and a wonderful feedback, today we are here to talk to our own director, sir, about college life, careers, and most importantly, life skills. Our director, sir, Dr. Akshay Malhotra, has a PhD in engineering from Penn State University. Other than this, he is an enthusiastic reader. He's a strong believer in the necessity of reinventing the formal education system. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, Rashi. Very good morning to you. I'm doing well. And firstly, thank you for inviting me and having me to what is your event, because I very strongly believe that this is a student-led activity. So yes, we have an in-house speaker this time, but still, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Before continuing this chat ahead, I would like to inform all the viewers that you all can participate in this discussion as well by sending your questions through the chat window. And if anyone is facing any technical issues with Zoom, they can join us live through YouTube.
So you have completed almost 1.5 months, and because of the current COVID scenario, students in our college haven't really had the chance to interact with you enough. So can you please tell us about your experience here in Shirpur's campus so far?
Okay. So I see you are starting with an easy question. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that. My experience of Shirpur campus. So you see, it doesn't matter whether you are a student or a director. I think you guys will be able to relate to my experience. So when I was coming to Shirpur, I was a little bit apprehensive. I, frankly speaking, didn't know what to expect. The college looked absolutely beautiful from the website and everything, from the photos that I have seen. But the thing is, when you go to any big city, Delhi or Bombay or any city, even in US, any big city, you kind of know what to expect. But Shirpur, I really didn't know what to expect. But just outside the college, when you're closing in, there's a beautiful river that we have flowing by, right? And being born and brought up and spent all my life in big cities, I have never seen a river with such clean water. Maybe that was your experience too, first time when you were coming in. And then when you come in, I mean, just look through that, the trees when you enter the gate. 15 minutes you spend in the campus. That's my experience. You fall in love with the place. So Ruskin Bond, one of my favorite authors, he said, once you spend some time in the hills, you belong to the hills. The hills kind of own you. So similarly, that's the thing with our campus. Spend some time in Shirpur campus and it kind of owns you. You belong here. So that's been my experience of the campus so far.
Sir, as you mentioned about a book right now, so me and Kritan are basically in your contact since 2 weeks now. And we have been listening to a lot of books, a lot of philosophies you have mentioned about books. So, sir, can you share some of the learnings, some of the philosophies with our viewers as well? The most favorite ones of yours that you have adapted in your whole life.
Okay, I think I'll go one better than that. So, firstly, so we've got quite a big audience for this event over here on YouTube. We've got students, I'm told. We've got faculty, we've got staff, we've got alumni, and people from the outside world that we don't know. Each one of us, is facing some of the other problem. I can't tell you what that problem is. I don't know. But everyone, each and everyone in their lives is facing some other problem, some issue, something going on in their mind. That's the thing. The mind never stops talking. Now imagine that there were people much, much smarter than us, having spent their entire lives working on that particular problem. They may have come up with a solution. They may not have come up with a solution. So wisdom of people much, much smarter than us through the ages. Now imagine that their entire lifetime of work is available with you for 250, 300 rupees. It's there with you. You can carry it with you wherever you want, always at your disposal. And all it takes is 3 to 4 hours of your time, right? To revisit their entire life's work. Even people born 2000 years ago, struggling with the same questions, same issues that we are in today's age. So if we refuse to refer to them, and of course I'm talking about books, isn't that highly stupid of us? I believe it was Mark Twain. Actually, you'll have to Google it up. I am not sure, but I think it was Mark Twain who said that the man who knows how to read but does not read books has no advantage over a man who does not know how to read. So to me, that's what books are, and that's why books are so important in my life, and they've played a huge role in my life. I know your question was on particular books, but I'll go one better than that. So I actually want to read with you guys every month. I really want to have a vibrant book club on campus, a club where we meet, we all together, sit down, we choose a book. Then we meet once a month, we discuss the book, we review it, we reflect on it, we debate on it, right? And I propose starting it online, right? Because of the current scenario. But later on, I would love it if this book is right there outside and we are meeting, So right now the window is covered, the blinds are there, it's too sunny out there. But there's a beautiful garden out there. We should be sitting under the trees and discussing these books. So that's my plan. That's my proposal to all of you. So I would love to, let's get together, have a book club if you guys are interested. And as far as what book I'm reading currently, right, it's Tao Te Ching. It's actually, I don't know how many of you have heard it, but it's the second most read book in the world after the Bible. So a lot of ancient Chinese wisdom in there and related to Zen. So I'm sorry for such a long answer to your question, but anytime we mention books, I'm going to be hard to stop.
So it's really inspiring to see that even at this position, we still find time to read books. I'm sure that after your answer, every viewer must have this question on their mind. So how do you manage your time?
Okay. That's a tough one. So the first two were easy ones. This is a tough one. I can see where this is going, right? How do I manage my time? Okay, let's start from the basics. So let's actually broaden the question actually. So I'm sure you guys also have trouble finding out time for all the stuff that you do, right? Have trouble taking out time for all the stuff that you want to do, all the stuff that you love. But guys, there's one, and so many plans you must be putting on hold that once we graduate, we'll have more time. Right now, they keep us so busy in the classes, time hi nahi milta. Aage jaake haan, then we do. Right? So this is my philosophy on time and what I've learned through the years. Firstly, guys, there's never going to be enough time. You are never going to have enough time. We only get 24 hours a day. So no matter how much we try, we can't get more than that. Secondly, as far as time is concerned, there is no perfect time to do anything. Right? So don't wait for a perfect time. Don't wait ki bhai aage jaake aise karke time milega. This is how there is. So firstly, limited number of hours. Secondly, no perfect time to do anything. Right? Then how do you take out the time? You take out the time if you're really, really desperate and you really want to do something. If you really like something, trust me, you'll be taking out the time. It's like, sorry for generalizing. It's like me. So you asking me, how do you take out the time for books? Is me asking you, how do you take, guys, how do you take out time to check your Facebook status so many times a day? Mil jata hai na? You take out the time, right? So time is never given to us. Time is always has to be taken out. So please don't, you have to make time. And one thing is that so many times I have also used this excuse, there is just not enough time, right? I want to do this, but I don't have the time for this. But what I've learned in life is that I don't have time is just an excuse for another way of saying I'm not interested enough. So to answer your question, how do I get time? So reading books is basically my me time. I wake up between 3:30 to 4 every morning. It's a variable because I hate the sound of the alarm clock. So I like waking up without it. So it's not a constant. And after that, hour and a half is my book reading time. So that's how I take out time for reading books every day. Rashi, you're on mute, I believe.
Yes. So, sir, I had another question. Like, as you like reading books, what other activities do you pursue living here in the campus?
Okay. So, firstly, so you guys, as the host for this session, you didn't offer me any beverage or any coffee. So I asked for my own coffee. I always think I'm smarter with coffee. So please don't mind. I'll go on sipping my coffee also. So what other activities? So if you are on the campus, and I saw some of you cycling really early morning today, taking advantage of the beautiful campus we have at 5:45, you would have found me walking there. So I do spend a good deal of time, 45 minutes at 45 minutes. Actually, my wife forces me to also sometimes. But in the mornings, you'll find me walking around the campus. And I don't know if you guys have you guys woken up early enough and seen the sun actually? Sunrise at Shirpur. It's absolutely beautiful. Guys, you guys are again on mute. Just unmute yourself, we can talk. And it's like a big orange ball of fire, and the beautiful thing is that you can stare it right in the eye. I love staring at the sun right in the eye for some reason. Only recommended during the early morning hours at Shirpur. So that's another thing. So morning walk is a big part of my routine. But that question is a tough one because a lot of reading. These days I've also taken to audiobooks. I used to hate them. I used to hate the Kindle when it first came out. Then I love it. And then I started hating audiobooks. Now I love audiobooks. What else am I interested in? I have a very, very short attention span, as you guys have already noticed in our interactions. So if we are talking and there's a bird on the window, I get distracted. So I watch movies, like mostly English films. Don't watch Coming to America Part 2, actually. Part 1 was much, much better. Don't watch it. It's a waste of time. But the thing is, with movies, I can't watch something for 2.5 hours straight. I just can't. So watching a movie, and my wife tells me it's a really frustrating experience watching a movie with me. It's broken up into, it takes days for us to finish a movie. And as far as serials are concerned, I think Seinfeld is the best show ever. You guys probably will not be able to relate to it. I'm a little too old for you guys. But you guys must be knowing Friends at least, right?
Yes.
When I was your age, I used to watch a lot of Friends. In fact, for my BTech, not many exams were, preparing for exams was with playing Age of Empires. Again, that game might be lost on you guys. Or watching Friends, right? But yeah, all in all, guys, I'm a very, very boring person. When I was at your stage in life, I was a nerd, right? Still am. So yeah, not the right guy to be asking the question, what do you do in life?
So, sir, as you mentioned Friends, I'm a big fan of Friends, and I would really say that you are not a boring person if you're
So who's your favorite Friends character?
Chandler.
I used to love Chandler. See, there's always, I think, always a Friends character you can relate to. So my favorite was also Chandler, and my brother's was Joey.
Oh.
So, and the most quirky and the person you start appreciating the most when you get my age, take your time getting there, is Phoebe actually. She's the most quirky of the lot. So yeah, so we have something in common. See?
I personally think that Friends is very overrated. I did not like it that much.
Rashi, just throw him out of the picture.
I have done that with him, sir.
Anyways, so coming back to the book club initiative. So Can you please tell us initiatives like book club and this even this Saturday at 10 a.m. initiative? Why do you think that these initiatives are important for us, for students?
Good. So guys, let's use an analogy, right? So at least abroad, you must have seen that you've been exposed, either you've been there or through shows or movies. Carpenters, they wear that toolkit. India, they carry a box. You can use that also as my analogy, or carpenters, they carry this toolkit, right? Now, what I take, your basic degree, whatever you are working on, right? It might be computer science, it might be pharma, it might be agriculture. But let's say in that carpenter's toolkit, that's a hammer, right? How successful do you think a carpenter would be if he has only one tool in his toolkit? If he only goes for every job, and they say to a man who has a hammer, everything looks like a nail, but that would be going off topic, right? But imagine all your life with only one tool. How successful would you be? It's just not possible. So then your argument can be, sir, but it's taking us 4 years to get a degree in, let's say, NTC or comp science. So you expect us to go on then having a degree in law, philosophy, arts, maths, and all? No, life doesn't work that way, right? So a lot of teaching that has to take place is actually beyond the classrooms. Classrooms are a must, not debating that, not even open for discussion. But a lot of learning takes place outside the classroom. Like, take you guys, for example. We have been interacting for 2 weeks now. When we first met, how confident were you? Right? So look at yourself. Okay, let's say you one of the activities you take part is in sports. Okay, coming on to the sports analogy now. Let's say you're playing tennis. Let's say you give your best shot, you try your damnedest, and you play the best game of your life. And you lose. Why? The opponent was better. Guys, life works that way. Life is very unfair that way. How are you going to learn that? That's sports for you. Sometimes you lose a game just because of a wrong call, wrong decision. But hey, what can you do about it? You move on, the next day you go again and you give your best shot, go for practice again. Where do you learn that? You learn that from sports. Where do you learn teamwork? These technical clubs and societies, right? And our students are already doing a lot. I would love it if in our campus, the book club. Reading from books is one thing, learning from books is one thing. But how do you put across your point? How do you debate? How do you put forward a point without getting into argument or taking sides? It's a losing skill set these days. How do you tell stories? I would love it if we have a lovely amphitheater. When you guys come back, I'm expecting a play every weekend. I want to see Shakespeare out there. I want to see Mulshi Premchand out there. Right? I want to see you guys perform. I know we have a wonderful theater for screening movies also, but when we have 1,700 of you, right? Why should I look at other actors and actresses? I should be seeing you guys perform. I would love to hear poetry from you guys. Let's take the book club under the stars. All this learning is beyond the classroom, and it's very, very important. And plus, if you see where all the world is moving, it's moving on all the latest things. They're interdisciplinary. These days, a student of agriculture is as much a student of technology, right? As much a student of computer science as a student of technology. Let's utilize that. We have some unique things on this campus. Most startups today are coming in the world of agri-tech. Government is giving so much money for it. So if you are a computer science student over here, you should be able to derive maximum benefit from having a school of agriculture right here in campus. How's that going to happen? Are you going to get a BSc honors degree in agriculture 4 years after graduating from here? No. That has to take place along with your education, right? So that's why you'll see a lot of stress on interdisciplinary learning, breaking down barriers, learning outside the classroom, learning by doing. So that's the way forward, I would say, for all of us. provided all of you guys show enough amount of interest and participate. Because ultimately, you get to decide all this we are doing for you guys, right? So I hope that answers your question.
So, this is for the audience again. You can also participate in this discussion by sending your questions through the chat window. So, sir, another question comes to my mind when you mentioned all the degrees and everything, that right now, because of this pandemic situation, all the internships, jobs, we are facing very much a very big issue right now. We are not getting work in office internships. We are not getting more opportunities in the job fields. So, sir, what would you suggest? Like, we won't be having any industrial experience. So, what would you suggest to us about that?
Okay. So, the questions keep getting tougher and tougher, don't they? You start with the basic, how are you liking the campus? And from here, we are discussing about internships in the time, industry experience in time of Corona, where most of the places are shut down or again shutting down. So, guys, let's take a broader view first. Right? So, at this time, the worst thing that you can do as far as your career is concerned is actually feel sorry for yourself. That's the worst thing you can do. Why? So there was a batch of students that graduated even in 2008. You know about the Great Recession throughout the world in 2008. What do you think happened to hirings then? Right? Before you, going back in time in other countries, there were people your age who were forced to go to war also. Forced. Right? So sometimes it helps just keeping a larger perspective in mind. So yes, I don't want to belittle the situation you are in. That way your batch is totally different. Right? The conditions in which you are graduating is totally different, right? Totally different from any time else. So that's point number one. Let's not feel sorry for ourselves. There have been other batches who actually faced this, right? Secondly, the point I would like to make is things are not as bad as they seem. Pandemic-wise, they are bad. Career-wise, IT is really, really on an upswing. The amount of job creation that is happening in IT right now is actually, I wouldn't say unparalleled, but the numbers are really huge. Same thing with pharma. I'm told India is on the way of becoming the pharma manufacturing factory of the world, right? And in a way, just like IT, a lot of outsourcing was being done. Now the same outsourcing is happening in pharma, right? So things are really looking up. Agriculture. Things have never been better when it comes to agri-tech and future in agriculture, right? So things are not that bad, but again, keeping the larger picture in mind. So always when we have, it's human nature that whatever is in front of us, we really try to, we can't help it. We exaggerate its importance, right? 10 years from now, trust me, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, even 6 or 7 years from now, this is going to be a non-factor. That's the second point I would like. Third point I would like to make regarding your this point of internships is, and guys, one another thing, look at it this way, your generation is going to be blessed with something no other generation before, work from home. I mean, just go on LinkedIn, the amount of the possibilities that exist right now, the amount of jobs that have remote written in front of them. Yours is a generation that is going to be sitting in Goa or Dehradun or someplace in the Northeast with a laptop and going to be working, right? Because corporates never realize that, hey, we can function so well with people sitting from home and it really saves cost. So yours is the generation that is going to take the lead in that. All you need is a laptop, a good skill set, and you're working from anywhere in the world, right? I like to imagine you'll be working from a beach in Goa probably. Third thing I would like to tell you guys in a situation like this, and this really helps me, this helped me in life. Try to differentiate between what's in your control and what's not in your. Right? What is not in your control? The pandemic is not in your control. The job situation out in the outside world is not in your control. Companies not giving internship right now, obviously, is not in your control. Let's not focus too much on that. You'll just end up getting frustrated. What is in your control? making your skill set that much stronger, taking additional courses, right? And there are so many other platforms over there, learning beyond the classroom, right? All these things very much in your control. So maybe the number of jobs, let's say, reduces from 100 to 50. Maybe the opportunities reduces from 100 to 50, right? But how many jobs do you guys need individually as a person? One. You need that one job. Are you making yourself the best fit for that one job? That, hey, once when that opportunity comes, they are going to find me to be the best candidate. Now that is in your hands. Whether 100 companies come or 70 come up with job openings or 50 come, not in our hands. But am I the best person for that job? Totally in your hands. So let's focus on that. Again, I think you're on mute.
No, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So, sir, we also went through your profile. We read about like what have you pursued in degrees and everything. So we also wanted to know, like you started with engineering, then you went on for PhD in space physics, and then you ended up doing finance. So, sir, what was your actual aim? Which field you wanted to work when you started engineering?
That's pretty interesting. Yes. So I have done my BTech in electronics and telecommunication engineering. After that, so I've always been fascinated in stars, with stars. You know, the sky has always fascinated me. And just try one thing out. So I just digress a little. Just try one thing out, guys. And that's why stars fascinate me so much. So tonight, just go out with social distancing and the mask on. Bless you. Look outside the window, right? Just look at the stars. You know, when man first came into being, evolved, he spent like tens of thousands of years in caves, just hiding, right? Tens of thousands of years he spent in caves. The exact number, if you are interested, you can look it up. And then I like to imagine there must have been a brave soul or a stupid soul, right? Either way, sometimes it's hard to differentiate between stupidity and bravery, who must have gone out slowly, scared, outside the cave, the very first steps, and then looked up in the sky. He saw the same stars that we are seeing tonight. The same stars that your forefathers saw, that your ancestors saw. It's the same stars that we see every night. That really gives me a high. It's an amazing feeling. I mean, check out the stars that. Anyway, to come back to your question, yes, always been interested in stars, and I wanted to do research. So always the focus was kind of GRE. Some of you also might be having that perspective and going along. Research hota kya hai nahi malum tha, kisme karna hai nahi malum tha, but I wanted to do research. And the way engineering degree works, and maybe you guys can relate, the curriculum is so wide and diverse, right? And that at the end, maybe you don't know what you love, but you definitely end up knowing what you don't love. Maybe hate is too strong a word. There's so many things. I don't know what exactly my passion is. Passion is, I would love to talk about it. I think it's a whole highly overrated thing, passion, how to go about finding your career. So I hope you ask me about it. So, I mean, one good thing the engineering degree is for is you come to know, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. This I'm a little bit interested in. Right? Ye try karke dekhte. So for me, the subject was electromagnetics, went abroad. And at Pennsylvania State University, the thing is, remote sensing and space physics comes as a part of electrical engineering. So I jumped on that, saw an opening, jumped on it, and suddenly I found myself spending a lot of time in Jicamarca in Peru and Arecibo, Puerto Rico, where you have a radar which is 1,000 feet wide. Which is so, you know, the dish you have outside your homes, right, for cable TV. Imagine that dish, same dish, but 1,000 feet. so powerful that if you put a 1 rupee coin at 1,000 kilometers, you can get scattering from it. And you'll be able to tell, okay, you have put a 1 rupee coin at 1,000 kilometers, right? So that's what I ended up. So I like to joke, I got a PhD looking at stars, actually shooting stars. I got a PhD looking at meteors. Then 2008 happened in US and I got very, very interested in finance. So obviously the world was crashing, Lehman Brothers was closing down. And I felt, I'm actually interested more in finance, right? I was very close to completing my PhD. Finance kind of became a passion of mine. So started a little bit with investing. That's a whole different story. Then I wanted to learn financial statements, which accounting, which is really dry and boring according to me. So I thought the best way to would be like, why not go for CFA? At least there would be pressure on me to clear the exams and learn. So that was the story for completing all 3 CFA levels. But if you see the larger takeaway from all this, that your career is pretty much to be played like an infinite game. So I don't know whether you're going to ask me that question. Let me just take some takeaways from this, right? And I'm going to generalize because many of you are final year students or preparing life for the outside world. So guys, firstly, making the decision for the first job at your age, it is highly, highly overrated. I think you guys put too much pressure on yourself. Society puts too much pressure on you, right? As if it's a really, really big deal. Yes, it's important. But expecting a 20 or 21-year-old, right, to make a decision which you think on, next 40 years of my life, I'm going to be doing this. It's ridiculous. So life doesn't work that way. Trust me, you might find your first job is something else and 10 years from now, you'll be doing totally different thing. And you don't have to take my word for it. See any people you admire who are in their 40s or 50s, right? Any CEOs, any people you admire or look up to, right? See how they started. Chances are they started in a totally different field, something totally different, right? Ended up being something totally different. So whatever career choices you make right now, most of them totally reversible, right? So don't put that much pressure on yourself. Second thing, as far careers go, and I don't think this is a good advice. We love giving the advice as elders. Follow your passion. It's very easy for us to say, "Aapko bhi sunne ko milta hoga." Follow your passion. That's very easy. So anybody who comes to me, I can very easily say, irrespective of listening to him, hearing him out, discipline. No, follow your passion. Life will follow your passion. No, when I was a student, I also got the same advice. But my problem with that advice back then and even now, and probably you face the same issue, ठीक है यार, follow your passion, तो ठीक है, पर मेरा passion क्या है? And then you start struggling. And in every class, there are 2 or 3 people who are very sure on what they want to do, not at all confused. Majority are confused, and you feel left out. I only don't know what to do with my life. मुझे ही नहीं मालूम. He तो feels, he is so confident क्या करना है. मुझे ही कुछ नहीं मालूम. He knows his passion. I don't know my passion. So guys, life doesn't work that way. And most of the time, sorry, life doesn't care about your passion. Right? So do what you love, I feel, is little bit overrated advice. Love what you do. That is underrated advice. Because abhi aap logo ko jaise, trust me, if you think you are interested, even I'm confused about my career, to be very honest. I don't know what I'll be doing, where I'll be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So if I, at the age of 39, can still face confusion, why can't you guys be confused? It's very, very natural to be confused in what you want to do in life. And how one finds passion is, one goes on gathering new experiences. One should be open to change. One should be adaptable to new things. One should welcome new things. And sometimes you come to know your passion. Actually, most of the times, you come to know your passion only after doing something. Only after working initially do you realize whether, hey, this really interests me. Right? So instead of the generic advice, do what you love, I would say just try, love what you do. And if you can't love what you do, it's probably a time to move on. You can always move on. That way, all career decisions are mostly reversible. It's not that important a decision as you guys make it out. So that's it as far careers are concerned from my side.
So, sir, one of the audience question that came up, it is like you have studied in Penn State University. So they wanted to know like what is the difference between Indian educational system and the educational system there. They wanted to know the difference and which of the system is behind, of course.
Okay. So firstly, I think we sometimes go into a habit of belittling and degrading our Indian system a little bit too much, right? It's like ghar ki murgi dal barabar thing. Even if you see the best of researchers, right? Like when I was at Penn State, 50% of the people doing their PhD from Department of Electrical Engineering were either Indians or Chinese, right? So our education system is damn good. We are doing a mighty good job. As far as undergrad level, the first 2 years is concerned, I think we are fantastic. We don't, the kind of math skills that we have, right? The kind of analytical skills that we have. They actually are up starting, say, if you give someone a math software like MathCAD or a calculator, I'm sorry, you're not going to understand the logic behind it, right? So that way we are very good. The amount of rigor that we have, PL May, you guys must be used to, right? Staying up all night. They find that really hard. We are used to it. We are used to slogging. Never undermine the value of that, right? Competition is also good to a certain extent. So all those things are the good things in our education system. I mean, if our people are only going abroad and doing so well, it's a credit to our education system, right? So that, but at the same time, we can always get better, right? So one thing that I like about Western education system, that, I mean, the openness, the discussions, and I believe our faculty are also at Shirpur campus are doing a very good job. The classes are a lot more open, right? So one thing I want to see next semester, firstly, we are really waiting for all you guys to come back on campus, right? And what we really want to see is, I want to see some classes held outside. I want to see some classes held under the tree. That's what the greenery is for. It's not meant just for admiring from our windows. Let's sit in nature. Let's discuss maths like that. Let's have a philosophical discussion on maths, right? And outside, so let me that also difference. So yeah, let me give you an example. So outside, you are a lot more application oriented compared to the Indian system, where you go too much into the technicals of it, right? So I said maths, and that's why this point came to me. So all of us studied the Taylor's theorem, right? You guys also must, I think, engineering mathematics 1 or 2, they teach Taylor's theorem. Now, the only thing that you need to realize about Taylor's theorem, right, is where is it applied? Do you need to remember the formula? No. That's what Google is there for, right? Now, 10 years from now in your life, let's say you need Taylor's theorem. I can't tell you what situation you will be needing Taylor's theorem. I can electromagnetics mein aata hai actually. So, but the point is, it is a tool. All you need to know is where to apply it. So if you come across a certain situation, you need to just remember, okay, maybe this can be applied. Usse zyada I mean, do you really expect to mug up the formula for 10 years? And kitna mug karoge? Kitna matlab, how much road-based learning, right? So that way, our system is also Shirpur. I'm so impressed we are doing things differently. So I was that day walking out. I love going to the library. You are in the library, right? Computer science room?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The view that you have from there is amazing. So I really wish they would move my office up there. You guys can use my office as library. The view from there is simply amazing, right? I'm sorry, in the library thing, I forgot the larger point that I was making. But the whole thing is, yeah, I was walking in the library the other day and I saw one of your classmates first year watching a movie. I thought that was very brazen. Director is moving in the campus and the student is watching a movie in the library. The answer I got was, sir, this is our assignment. We have to watch this movie as a part of Constitution of India, on the course of Constitution of India. I loved it. So I would say our system at Shirpur. And guys, let me tell you, let me take this opportunity to tell all our students out there who are listening. Guys, do you know that you belong to a campus where your faculty, on their own accord, are meeting at 4 p.m. They're going to meet today also, every Saturday, without fail, just to discuss how to teach you guys. Not what to teach you guys, that the education system has been thinking about for centuries, right? And we do a very good job of it. But how to make the classroom teaching learning process more interesting. So you belong to a campus where the faculty on their own accord, on Saturday evening, they are meeting for 1.5 hours, 2 hours, discussing, deliberating, right? Even debating on how to make the classes more interesting for you guys. So I would say you also have to play an equally important role in the teaching learning process. You guys have to now come to us, right? I expect many of you to hopefully come forward, right? Sir, I went for internship, or I did this internship, sorry, touching a honor. Maybe we are lacking knowledge of this software. Can you please include it as part of our course? Right? Why don't we have, so if all the final year students that are listening, have you ever taught your juniors formal classes? If not, why not? Isn't it your responsibility to teach something? Right? If you know something that is beyond the curriculum, you have done it via Coursera or whatever. Isn't it your responsibility to also teach your juniors that? You know how much they listen to you, how much you influence them. So instead of telling them about so many other things, kabhi padhai ki baatein bhi kar liya karo. So we want to have that kind of atmosphere in campus where 5 p.m. seniors are holding classes for juniors on interesting things. Seniors are holding workshops for juniors, right? And Baki, last point, we digressed quite a bit on Indian versus Western education system, right? I think now, larger point I would like to make, and with this one point, we have to go back to the Indian education system. What you are actually calling and comparing the Indian education system is not our true Indian education system. This is actually a European education system. Hamara system to wo Gurukul wala hai. Hamara system was sitting under a tree, the students actually contributing to society, learning by doing. Where did this come from? I mean, you can call it flipped classroom, project-based learning, problem-based learning. There is also scenario-based learning. These are all terms. In practice, this has been our system. This is very much Indian education system. Now it turns out the West has started paying, US has started paying attention to it. So now we are also paying attention to it. So I would say what we are calling right now the Western education system, right, in its latest avatar, that is very much Indian education system. So let's go back there. So whatever points we have made in this discussion, the holistic learning, learning outside the classroom, theater, book club, sitting under a tree, classes being held in the gardens, that is Indian education system. That's all it used to, you must have seen in serials, right? Ramayana, Mahabharata and all, जाते थे, सफाई भी करते थे, आपसे सफाई नहीं करवा रहे, but if you want to learn gardening, you are not going to get a better place on earth, right? Come learn gardening. और हमसे मत सीखो, not from faculty and staff. Learn gardening from the gardeners. इतना कुछ है आपको सीखने, right? So let's go. So that would be kind of my vision over many years, right? Let's go back to our Indian education system. Let's go back to our roots. Let's go back to holistic learning, which you guys will also find a lot more fun. Let's learn by doing rather than just textbooks. So quite a long answer, right?
No problem, sir. So there's another question from one of the participants. She would like to know how to evaluate whether students should go for higher education or whether they should accept campus placements.
Okay. So my answer to that would be, if you have to evaluate, then you are doing it wrong. They are totally two different things. Something like this shouldn't be forced. All right? They're totally two different things. Do you want to study further, do research, or do you want a job? As simply, forget abroad, forget India. That's what the two things are. Should I take a job, work in a company, or should I study further? That's it. And there are such extreme choices. So I would say if you are struggling between these two choices, you are probably over-evaluating. So in the question itself lies the answer. There is no need to evaluate so much. They are like poles apart. And deep inside, you know the answer. I would love to talk with you on an individual basis, because this cannot be a generic answer, right? This is highly, highly subjective. There is no right or wrong in this answer. There are no thumb rules in this answer. It totally depends on you. But please don't over evaluate, right? And if you are thinking too much, right? The good thing again, which I pointed out, is it's a reversible decision. I mean, you saw the guests that you guys interviewed last time, right? One of them took the GREs, went abroad after 4 years. One of them went right immediately. Today at similar places in life. So if you decide to take a job, right, don't like it, the abroad option is always going to be open for you. Again, if you go abroad, think that research is not meant for you. After your master's, you can either work abroad or come back to the country. So neither of them is actually an irreversible decision. But trust me, whoever has asked this question, deep inside your heart, you know the answer, and only you can decide. We can help you by asking you the right questions, but answers have to come.
Sir, another question from the audience is like, how could you manage to achieve this successful career at this young age? Like, what are the skill sets required to build
I have a lot of objections to that question. Firstly, success. Secondly, young age. All very relative things in life. But let me tell you something about success, guys. Is the definition keeps on changing. Nobody tells you that. There are so many books, so many people. 10 things, do these 10 things, you will be successful. Do these 5 things, you must do this and you will be successful. Karo. But I would just say, first thing is take a pause and ask yourself, what does success mean to me? So right now we are running short on time. I would love to narrate it, tell you about this with my own story, but I won't go into it in detail. But my definition of success kept on changing with time. And often it happens. Firstly, the worst thing would be that society sets the definition of success for you, right? You go on striving, you go on working hard, you give it your all, you spend many years and you reach the finishing line. And then you realize, ye to mujhe chahiye hi nahi tha. I never wanted this, right? So please, 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 success is a term which is used very loosely. Please first introspect, reflect. What does success mean to me? Right? And from my own example, my answers have changed a lot during the last 15 years, a lot. From fame to money to peace of mind. But it's really changed a lot. And this has to be an individual journey, right? And many times it will happen. You will try your best, you reach there, and then you realize this is not what I never wanted this. It's not worth it, right? So that's success. My age, I will not comment on it. The skills. Let's go back to the question, right? What are the skills that are important? I would say the technical skills are a no-brainer. I mean, giving the answer. I'm not that technical skills are no-brainer, but for my answer, the first thing being technical skills, that's it. So that have to be there, right? Without that, you are just icing on the cake, but without the cake. I mean, can you eat only the icing? No, it's really too sweet, right? So the cake has to be there. That's your technical skills in whatever area you have chosen. Rest, what I've learned is, guys, next set of skills, life is not fair, So if you do not have the communication skills, written as well as oral, you very well might find later on in life, let's say you have only the technical skills, but these communication skills are missing, right? So if this is missing, you might find later in life, you are doing all the work behind the scenes because you have excellent technical skills, but the guy who's finally making the presentation is taking all the credit. That happens so often in life, and then you'll feel cheated, and then you'll say life is unfair. So life is unfair, but the trick is get it unfair in your favor. You benefit from the unfairness of life. Put yourself in such position. So communication skills, as far as I'm concerned, are a non-negotiable. You have to be good at writing. You have to be good at speaking. You have to be good at presenting your work. And trust me, we guys are going to give you enough opportunities, enough platforms in the next few years to improve your communication skills, right? But the thing is, like any platform, we can just give you the platform, then you have to come forward, right? So one would be communication skills. Within communication skills, the art of telling stories, highly underrated skill. It's a life skill, I would say. If you want people's attention, if you want to drive home the point, tell stories, share your experiences. So within communication skills, I will put that. Another very important skill in life. And guys, so here's a question for you. So all those 35-year-old, 40-year-old people who are doing AI ML in industry right now, do you think they had it as part of their course curriculum? Do you think they had even heard of AI ML when they were students? No, they are the top researchers in the field. So the thing is, if you can predict the future, it's definitely not the future. So I feel our job is to prepare you for the jobs of that are, that don't even exist right now. For the job interview that you'll be appearing for 10 years from now. Ye 1 saal mein jo face karoge, that is easy. So what are the other life skills? Learning how to learn, very important. Learning what to learn is easy. But please, I want every student, once they graduate from here, once they are leaving our portals, you have to learn how to learn. And for that, here's a tip. Learn how your mind operates. It's the tool that you are expected to use ever since your birth, and our learning system really makes you use that tool, right? But you know how the mind actually operates. Please learn that. Another skill, life skill, which I would say is, so communication skills, within that storytelling, right? Learning how to learn is another very important skill. Problem solving, right? Because if you are a problem solver, you are indispensable. And how do you actually solve problems? How do you identify problems? When you are stuck with a big problem, how do you break it into parts? That reminds me, there's a big ship stuck in Suez Canal, right? So breaking into parts somehow reminded me of that, not a good analogy. But okay. Another very important skill, and this is the last one I'm going to mention, right? We are going to run short of time soon, is being adaptable to change. You would see so many people let go of opportunities just because they are not comfortable with change. So I want every student from Shirpur campus, irrespective of the discipline they are in, to be very comfortable with change. So people, a lot of talk these days is of disruption and people fearing jobs, right? I want our student, when he goes out 10 years from now, 15 years from now, to be excited about disruption. I want disruption to be his opportunity, right? Because when the field, it's a level playing field, when it is only those things which, have been taught during the course of 4 years that everyone is doing. But I want our student to be really excited. Okay, change is coming. Everybody hates change, but me, on the other hand, I've been trained to anticipate and benefit from change. I want you guys to thrive from change, right? So that's another life skill. So these are some life skills, to answer your question, which I feel are very important, apart from your technical skills, which you must
Right. So we have one last question for today's chat. And so I would like to know, what is your vision of a student who has graduated from NMIMS University in, say, 10 years?
I think I just answered that, but let me wrap it up then. Excellent technical skills, great communication skills. He should be able to put his point in a way where he can actually, he can disagree without being disagreeable. I see that as a skill that is really lacking in people these days. It's my way or the highway. If you don't agree with me, to uski side. I don't want a Shirpur student to behave like that. I want every Shirpur student to be a critical thinker. And my simple definition of that would be, I don't want an NMIMS Shirpur student to be forwarding WhatsApp messages without thinking whether is this right or is this wrong? Is this true or is this false? I don't expect it from our students. My simple definition, right? So, and I want every, like I said, Shirpur student to have excellent communication skills, right? Everyone to learn how to learn, to be not only a self-motivated learner, but I also want all of you to be independent learners. I want you to start questioning things. I think the purpose of education, I've started believing, and believe for this for a long time, is actually freedom. And not the freedom of moving and movement and you all have freedom, nahi. Freedom of the mind. So you have to be independent thinkers. That's what I would expect from you. And then I want you to be self-directed, self-driven. So a lot of expectations from you, plus another one, this is the last one I'm going to say, right? Too many expectations from you guys. But this is my vision of a student from Shirpur. I want you guys to have a lot of empathy. I want you always to put yourself in other people's shoes. I always want you to think of the other person and how you can contribute, right? So these are and you will see most of the problems, even leadership skills. Just have empathy, put yourself in other person's shoes. Trust me, that is something that's going to do wonders for you in all aspects of your life and career. So these are my expectations from a student from NMIMS.
Thanks a lot, sir. It was really an amazing experience to learn about your philosophies, to know you. We would definitely want more sessions with you because it was very encouraging.
Thank you.
Also, I would like to thank Smita ma'am and Harshal sir. This event wouldn't be possible without their support. And lastly, I would like to thank all the faculty members and the audience who have been part of this talk. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day and stay safe and study hard, right? I think I'm supposed to say that, right? Okay, take care.